Breaking news now at 10. A small plane crashes in Lee County. This is video we received from Richard Waltman, who witnessed that plane go down.
This is all developing within the last 2 hours. We got this picture from Wink News viewer Kelly Long on the Wink News Facebook page. You can see that thick black smoke and the large flames coming up from the crash site. This happened right off of Metro Parkway in Fort Myers. Right now, we are awaiting a press conference that's supposed to be starting here any moment to kind of update on this plane crash. But we kind of want to recap what exactly we've been dealing with for the past 2 hours. We first got this call right around 8 o'clock this morning.
Right, and what we know so far is that a small plane went down. We don't know exactly who was involved in the crash, but it crashed near the Chico's, the part of the building there.
Yeah, there's a daycare center there that we're told. There was nobody inside, fortunately. We understand there were 2 people on that plane. At least one has gone to the hospital, so we're still working to confirm who was involved, who that plane belonged to. We understand it was only just a single-engine aircraft.
Right, not a big plane at all, but, you know, still working. Now we're going to go out live to Jessica Alpern. She's on the scene right now with more answers on what is going on. Jessica?
Yeah, that's right. This is the staging area. We're just a couple of minutes from right now. We expect the Lee County Sheriff's Office to be here to report on whether or not we're dealing with any injuries. Of course, we've spoken with the Port Authority. We're going to pull up some footage to show you what we have, and what I can tell you right now is the NTSB, they're going to be arriving shortly, as well as the FAA, to determine what exactly happened. But witnesses in this cell phone footage that we're going to show you right now, Richard Waltman, he works nearby, and he saw the plane lose control, fly very low to the ground here on Metro Parkway, again crashing into that building, the Chico's Daycare Center. That's building number 9 on Metro Parkway. So right now, LCSO is setting up a staging area right now, and minutes away we expect a live update as to whether or not we're dealing with any injuries. But one small plane did crash into the Chico's Daycare Center. That's just across the street on Metro Parkway, and we expect a live update minutes from now. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jessica. And of course, we're going to be monitoring this situation. We do have a story posted at winknews.com where you can get all the details we've confirmed from the Federal Aviation Administration so far.
Right, and coming up in just a few minutes, as she said, there should be a live press conference where we hope to get more answers on exactly what is happening.
All right, and here again is that cell phone video that was just in from a witness. This comes to us from Richard Waltman, who says he was on the scene of the crash this morning. We understand it happened shortly after 8 o'clock this morning. This is essentially right across the street from Page Field. You can see that black smoke and those flames going up there, and we're still working to confirm who was in that plane and how this all came about. We understand the plane was flying very low when it crashed, and there you can see the flames and the smoke there. So we're going to keep on top of this for you, and as soon as we have that press conference starting, we'll be sure to keep you updated on that. But for right now, I think we want to check with meteorologist Mary Mays on what you can expect for weather today.
Breaking news now at 10. A small plane crashes in Lee County, and we did receive a video from one of our viewers, Richard Waltman, who witnessed the plane go down. It is all developing right now. A lot of unanswered questions. That's the video that we were talking about. That was just taken moments after that plane crashed. That's off Metro Parkway near Page Field.
And we understand there's a press conference about to get underway where the crash happened. We're going to go right to that right now.
So, you know, bear with us. It's brand new.
Abby, we're starting.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. This morning around 7:50 a.m., unfortunately, was a tragic accident here involving a plane at 11215 Metro Parkway, which is Chico's headquarters. Lee County Sheriff's Office was the initial response, arrived on scene, and at this time, I can confirm that there was absolutely no Chico's employees on scene at the time of the crash, and no injuries to anyone that's employed there. We've been working directly with Chico's so they can assist us in processing the scene. Lee County Sheriff's Office will be handling the death investigation. The NTSB and the FAA are en route, and they will actually handle the plane crash itself. Okay, we did have one fatality, unfortunately, and we had one person that was transported to a local hospital with the unknown injuries. We are working directly with the FAA, the NTSB, FMPD, the Port Authority, South Trail Fire. our federal partners, obviously, and Chico's has been a great help to us throughout the whole incident. So again, it is fresh and new. We are working to do everything we can to make sure on our end that everything is not only safe, secure, but we're working the scene. It's active. So I can't give you details about the active investigation.
What hospital were they taken to? We're not taking
Unknown at this time. No question this time. Please understand it is brand new. It's an active, open investigation, and we are doing everything to work together as a team to make sure we handle the situation properly. So thank you for your time here today.
You just heard from Undersheriff, Lee County Sheriff's Office, Undersheriff.
Yeah, so just to go over what they were just saying there, so they did confirm that one person died in that plane crash that just happened about 2 hours ago this morning.
Yeah, the Lee County Sheriff's Office confirmed that that plane was taking off around 7:50 this morning when this all began at Page Field. Shortly thereafter, it crashed into the daycare center there near the Chico's headquarters, almost essentially across the street from the runway there.
Yeah, but they did say, fortunately, no one inside Chico's at the time where that plane crash happened. There was no one there. No one was injured inside the building, which is good news. We're going to send it back out to Jessica. She is live there on the scene with more information. And Jessica, what do you know so far?
That's right. You know what you just heard? You know what we just heard? We took you live into that press conference with the Lee County Sheriff's Office, and we do know now at least one person has died as a result of this plane crash. Another person transported to Lee Memorial Hospital with injuries. Now, we do not know the extent of those injuries at this time, but here's what I can tell you from witnesses who saw exactly what happened. Now, these men, they work just across the street at a remodeling center, and they saw the plane, what they say, lose control just before it clipped one of these trees and was flying very low to the ground before hitting Building 9. Now, this is Chico's headquarters, and we're told that this is actually a daycare facility. Now, I can tell you the Lee County Port Authority is saying that no children were inside, and in fact, LCSO confirming no people were inside. But I want to go ahead and pull up a soundbite right now, tell you what that witness says he heard.
I saw the plane flying real low, and his right wing clipped the trees. And when that happened, he lost control, landed on the side of the building, somersaulted in front, and landed in front of that daycare from Chico's, and exploded about 5 seconds later.
And that's when that man says he saw a big black cloud of smoke followed by flames. Now, that's when South Trail Fire District responded just within about 10 minutes or so to treat that incident. There's damage to the building. Of course, we just told you nobody was inside of that building at the time that the plane crashed, so just building damage is what they're dealing with there. Of course, the NTSB and the FAA, they're on their way, expected to be here in under about an hour right now to investigate exactly what witnesses say, that they saw the plane clip the trees, and that's what happened, and that's how it resulted in the crash. That's what the NTSB will be investigating, and as soon as we have any information as to exactly what caused this incident, we will be able to bring that back to you. But right now, we know sadly one person is dead as a result of this. That's what LCSO is investigating, and another person with injuries. Back to you.
Now, Jessica, obviously there's still a heavy law enforcement presence there right now, but it appears the road behind you has opened back up, so traffic is able to get through there.
Southbound traffic. Northbound traffic on Metro Parkway still seems to be a bit of an issue, but southbound traffic is traveling freely. So LCSO will be the agency that is going to be updating us as far as any roadblock throughout the day. So as soon as we have those updates, you can expect us to bring them to you both on air and online.
All right, thank you so much for that update, Jessica. Again, one person dead in a plane crash in Lee County. We're going to stay on top of this for you, and then we're going to be right back after this break with more headlines from around Florida and around the world.
Wink News, now back with breaking news.
And we are continuing to following breaking news, a plane crash that happened just around 8 o'clock this morning in Lee County.
Right, and we just recently learned that one person sadly did die in that plane crash, and another person was taken to the hospital. We don't know the condition of their injuries at this time.
And we know it's not a big plane that crashed. This is an example, according to the FAA, this is an example of the kind of plane that was involved in this morning's crash. We understand 2 people were on that plane when it was taking off from Page Field right around 7:50 this morning.
Yeah, and we've been going out all morning checking with Jessica Alpern. She is live out there on the scene, bringing us updates of what exactly is going on there. We do know that that plane crashed into Chico's, their headquarters there, actually the daycare part of Chico's off of Metro Parkway.
And fortunately, according to the Lee County Sheriff's Office, we just learned that no Chico's employees were on site. And right now, we want to go back out to Wink News reporter Jessica Alpern. She's been on top of the situation for the last hour. What do you know, Jessica?
That's right, and you know what? Those were the questions that everyone wanted to know right away, because we do know that this is a Chico's daycare facility. In fact, in speaking with witnesses who work nearby, that was their immediate concern. Were there children inside? Of course, we know that it is the weekend, however, summer, so that is what the major concern was. However, Lee County Port Authority has confirmed no employees, no children were inside at the time of the crash. We do know now, though, that one person is dead. Another with injuries has been transported to Lee Memorial Hospital, so we're working to figure out if that person is expected to be okay. But again, this is, as you mentioned, a small plane, a Piper Warrior, in fact, so a single engine plane. I want to go ahead and show you what one man says. He says he saw the whole thing as he was showing up for work earlier. Let's take a listen and see what he says he saw.
I saw the plane flying real low and his right wing clipped the trees. And when that happened, he lost control, landed on the side of the building, somersaulted in front, and landed in front of that daycare from Chico's and exploded about 5 seconds later.
And I want to zoom in and show you exactly where he says that explosion happens. And again, you can still see the propeller there now. This is the Chico's headquarters daycare facility. Now, we do know that there is damage to the building, but South Trail Fire was able to get here within just about 10 minutes from the initial explosion, get that under control. So all we have is damage to that building. Luckily, nobody inside there. We also see traffic southbound has reopened, but sadly, one person is dead as the result of this early morning plane crash. We know it happened just about 10 minutes before 8 o'clock this morning. At least that's when the call came in. And another person with injuries is at the hospital. So those are the questions we'll be continuing to ask throughout the day, as well as with the NTSB as they investigate here shortly on just exactly what caused this plane crash. Back to you.
Jessica, in the video we got, we know there was a lot of fire, there was a lot of smoke, probably a lot of damage to that plane. Can you tell us, are there any wings or parts that are clearly visible from where your vantage point is?
No, there's no debris as far as on the road. As far as what we can see right now, there have been several units on scene working to, the road had been blocked off. Southbound traffic has only been allowed in within, I'd say, about the past half hour. So they did get here shortly after the initial crash and explosion. So if there was any debris, that was definitely before we got here. All we can see right now is that the Chico's is blocked off with caution tape, and we can see parts of the propeller from the plane still there, and of course the damage to the building.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much for that update. Now, we want you to know how this investigation is being handled. Lee County Sheriff's Office is investigating the death investigation of this crash that happened this morning.
Absolutely. And the Federal Aviation Administration is investigating exactly how that plane went down. So a lot of moving parts here, a lot of uncertainty right now, but we're working to confirm new information through those official sources. And as soon as we have it, we'll be sure to pass it along to you on air and online. Now let's check with Mary on the forecast for the rest of today. Okay, so just to recap, a lot of you have been asking about this plane crash on the Wink News Facebook page this morning. Here's what we know so far. According to the Lee County Sheriff's Office, a small plane, a PA-28-181, was taking off from Page Field this morning around 7:50 when it started to have some trouble, and shortly after there, crossing over Metro Parkway, it landed here. Andrea.
Right, it crashed, and right there, that is the Chico's headquarters, and that particular part of the building is actually the daycare there. Now, we do know that Lee County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that one person sadly did die in this crash that was on that plane. Another person was taken to the hospital, and the Lee County Sheriff's Office is handling the death investigation at this point, while FAA is investigating how exactly that plane went down.
And we still have a lot of unanswered questions. Who was on the plane? Why exactly did it crash? Where was it trying to fly to? We are working to confirm answers through official sources. We'll be sure to keep you posted. We're going to go to break right now. We'll be back with weather after this.
Wink News, now back with breaking news.
All right, so we continue to follow this single-engine aircraft plane crash in Lee County this morning.
Right, we've been following this all morning. So far, what we know is that one person sadly was killed in that crash. Another person on board was taken to Lee Memorial Hospital. We don't know the extent of their injuries at this time.
And we did get a tip emailed into the Wink newsroom describing how this plane, this is an example of the plane that was involved in the crash. This is not the actual plane, but a person who was at the airport this morning emailed us saying that he saw this plane taking off, and according to him, it was taking off at a very shallow angle. And based on somebody with some good knowledge about how these planes are supposed to take off, they need to take off at maybe a steeper angle when they're getting off of the ground to increase that lift. And after those issues, this is how the plane ended up coming to crash shortly after taking off at Page Field.
Right, and then that crash happened into the Chico's, one of their buildings there, and that was actually the daycare center portion of Chico's building. Now, we are told there were no people in the building at the time, so there was no one hurt on that end inside the building. We're going to send it out now live to Jessica Alpern, who is on the scene there. And Jessica, what can you tell us?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm just east of the Metro Commerce Center, so all of the people who arrived here for work early this morning tell me they're used to planes flying around this area, of course, being so close to Page Field, but they knew that something was wrong when they saw how low this plane was flying to the ground. That's when one man tells me he saw it clip one of the trees here shortly before landing and exploding in Building 9. Now, we do know that that is Chico's headquarters, in fact, daycare center. So had this have been perhaps a weekday, there could have been children inside. Luckily, the Lee County Sheriff's Office telling us that no employees, nobody was inside the building at that time. I want to go ahead and pull up a soundbite from that man who says he witnessed the whole thing. Let's take a listen and see what he says he saw and heard.
I saw the plane flying real low and his right wing clipped the trees. And when that happened, he lost control, landed on the side of the building, somersaulted in front, and landed in front of that daycare from Chico's and exploded about 5 seconds later.
Okay, and we're on Metro just south of Daly now. A woman who I saw on the way over here to the Commerce Center, she told me that all the way from Daniels and Metro Parkway, that's where she could see that big black cloud of smoke followed by the flames. So this is definitely something that shook up this area early this morning. Again, the call came in just before 8 o'clock this morning, and we do know now the Lee County Sheriff's Office telling us that sadly one person has died as a result of this early morning plane crash. Another person transported to Lee Memorial with injuries. Now, we do not know the extent of those injuries yet. Of course, as soon as the Sheriff's Office is able to release that information, we'll be able to bring it to you. But we do know that the NTSB and FAA, they are expected to be here within less than 1 hour, and they'll be the ones investigating exactly what caused this plane crash. For now, we're live in Lee County. Jessica Alpern, Wink News Now.
Thanks so much, Jessica. Now we want you to know how this investigation is being handled. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is investigating this plane crash. Now the FAA is investigating how exactly the plane went down.
And like Jessica said, the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, is also en route to the investigation to figure out, was it a mechanical issue? Was it how the pilot was taking off? Was it how the plane was loaded? We still have a lot of unanswered questions in what led to this crash at this point. And again, this is an example of the type of plane. It was a small plane, a single engine plane. We understand there were only 2 people on board when it went down right around 8 o'clock this morning after taking off from Page Field. And this is just a number of the questions that we're still trying to get answers to.
Right, there's a lot of moving parts going into this investigation right now. We know that the Lee County Sheriff's Office is handling the death investigation portion of it, and the FAA is handling, again, how exactly that plane went down, what exactly happened, and there's other, law enforcement on their way trying to figure out exactly what happened this morning. Again, this was a little bit before 8 a.m. is when this whole crash, when it all happened.
And we're still working to figure out who was on that plane, who owned the plane, where was the plane flying. It sounded like there were planes flying around the scene, so it doesn't appear that the air traffic has come to a stop there. And like Jessica said, I think the southbound portion of Metro is open, but the northbound is closed. So we're going to be on top of this for you throughout the rest of the day. Of course, you can catch updates on the Wink News Facebook page and winknews.com. And you can get alerts by downloading the free Wink News app for your smartphone or tablet. Right now, though, we want to check in with meteorologist Mary Mays on what we can expect in the weather department.